I have a Ruco Triton 501 by ASSA Abloy. It is a lot like a twin combi in that it has 6 barrel pin drivers along the top with matching countermilling in the plug, and it has 5 finger pins on the left side that have to be lifted and rotated. I had done a Triton 401 before, which only has 2 side pins, so this one has 5 side pins in it. And one thing that's I think it's different than the ASSA twin combi in that the top pins are more jagged, so you see how there's like these extra teeth, and I'll show that at the end when I gut it, what that does. It does have a nice effect when you're picking, that you can kind of push or pull to set some pins because they're sloped at an angle, and so when you push it like lifts it up depending if they're facing front or back or stuff like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to pick the top pins first, and then we'll go after the side finger pins. So I have this, I won this in some sort of giveaway, and it's a custom pick, so it's just got a nice tall hook to it. Let's go ahead and give this a try. So first pin here, little click there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Little clicks out of 6. Come back to the beginning. Just getting my feeling here. 3, a little click out of 3, a little click out of 4, 5, 6 is weird to get underneath, it seems. Click out of 6, come back to beginning again. 1, click out of 2, 3. Okay, so I kind of push on 3 and I got to click. 4, oh, some clicks as it's just I go to touch it. 5 and 6. Okay, so now maybe I'm going to start to check if things are set. Pin 1, we'll click there actually. So 1 seems to be set because it jiggles a little. Kind of hard to feel in this. 2 seems to jiggle. 3 seems to jiggle. There, click out of 4. Now it seems to jiggle. Yeah, 5 seems to jiggle, and 6 is jiggling. Come back to the beginning again. It might all be, it might be ready for the side pins. I think 1's jiggling. I say I think because it's very subtle, and this lock does a good job of masking what's inside as well. 3. Yep, 4. 5, little click, little jiggle now. 6 definitely jiggling. 1, 2, click. Oh, and then some warding nonsense. A little click out of 1, 2. Maybe I dropped something when I touched 2 there. 3. 4 is jiggling. 5's jiggling. 6 jiggling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so I think the top pins are all set. Let's give the side pins a go. I have this multi-pick flag number Elite G Pro number 7, and I'm going to go and start feeling the side pins. I do know the rotations from having picked it, but otherwise you would have to basically find the binder, lift it up, see if it drops into the gate. If it doesn't, you let it back down, change the rotation. Each of these can be either towards the rear, towards the front, or neutral. And so you try a different rotation, lift it up. If it clicks into the gate, then you know you got the right rotation and whatnot. But I've done all that on this lock already, otherwise the video would be very long. Trying to go through all those different pins, 3 different orientations each. That's just not really video material. But maybe at some point well, I think I did show before how to do that on, I don't remember which one. I think a recent one actually showed how to do all that. All right, let's see. Pin 1 is just loose. pin 2, pin 2 is fairly loose, pin 3 seems to be loose, 4, alright, 4 seems to be binding, so let's get some rotation on 4. Alright, so I pulled on number 4, and now my pick is stuck, and then I'm going to try to lift it a little. Seems loose. Pin 5 seems to be binding. See if I can get rotation on 5, there. And it's loose. Come back to 4. Seems loose. Come back to 3. Seems kind of loose. 2. Oh, let me see. Get back in there. Oh, it's kind of hard. This pick is just barely thin enough to fit in there. So sometimes it can be hard to navigate with this pick. But other ones I find, while they're thinner to navigate, they're not quite tall enough to lift some of the pins up to how high they have to go. I'm just going to double check the top one more time, just because I'm paranoid, and see. 1 seems set, 2 set, 3 set, 4 set, 5 set, 6 set. Alright, so it's definitely the side, and on this particular lock, the side pins do give quite a bit of trouble. I did find they almost act like tapered pins, and that I have to keep going back and forth, slowly lifting them higher and higher. Alright, so I think it's pin 3. Making sure rotation is correct. I'll lift it up. Alright, 3 is loose. 4. Checking rotation. They like to drop out of the rotation a lot in this lock too. Alright, pin 5 seems like binding. I use a lot of tension on the sidebar when I'm doing the side pins. I find that it's just easier. I let way off tension when I try to. Oh, I'm stuck. I try to let way off tension when I'm doing rotation, but then I like to have a lot of tension so I don't lose that rotation. And I am completely stuck. There we go. I probably messed up a bunch of rotations and whatnot. All right, so pin 1. Oh, is that pin 1? Feels like it's set. All right, check rotation on 1. Yeah. 1 feels set. 2. Hold on. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. And I'm going to just keep going back and forth and touching these over and over, because they'll bind just a tiny little bit, kind of like tapered pins, and I'll have to push on them to get them a little higher. And I'm just going to go from 2 to 3 to 4 to 3 to 4 to actually to 4 and 5 a lot. So here's 5, here's 4, and then I'll get my pick stuck again, and I'll go back to 1, and it's going to just be a lot of this back and forth, kind of boring. 2. Alright, 3 feels set there, 4 feels binding, and we're open. Okay, so there's a lot of like kind of tapping them up, tapping them up, tapping them up. So let's take a look at what's inside this. This thing looks pretty cool inside, and it's got a kind of a weird setup. So let's get this out the way. Get some autofocus on. There we go. And some gutting tools. Here we go. So first things first, on the back there's a screw. Take that off. Oh, you know what I should do? I should probably lock it up first. And that's the first time I've done that. Do I have a tool with me to fix that? I dropped all the pins into the keyway. Oh man. There we go. I was able to recover that. All right, lock it up first. It's always a good thing to do. Take that, unscrew that. There's a little like shield thing there. And then this piece has to unscrew. It's not on too tight. All right, now we can use the key and introduce a shim so that you don't drop any of those driver pins into like anti-drill pinholes or anywhere else that you don't want it to go. This shim's pretty beat. It's a shaped follower because there's like a little notch there. So put that there, and then we'll have the. Then you want to catch the sidebar. There we go. So we'll put that over there. Sidebar first thing. Sidebar is just all the same height, which tells you that the bitting is set by the pins and not the sidebar. A lot of sidebars have different gate heights on the sidebar. If the sidebar is responsible for the bitting. 2 small springs to push the sidebar out. And then the fingerpins here have springs on them, but they're retained by the key. So we'll go ahead and get these top pins out. And these are kind of interesting. So here's the first one. And if we look at this, you see how it's got 2 notches in it. And then it's got these 2 fins on the side so they don't rotate in the spot. And in fact, if you put this in backwards, let me I think this is backwards. It's flipped by 180. It's too low in there. So that's the wrong bitting. You actually have to have it flipped this way around, and now it's flush. So if you, when you're rebuilding it, if you put these key pins in the wrong way and you don't test with the key, your key might not work anymore. So you gotta be careful there. All right, 3, 4, 6, 5, 6, 5, 4. All right. Yep. And then, oh, this thing went off a little. In here, let's see, I did it that way. So the counter milling I interacted with is on this side. There's counter milling in there. It's like a double to catch barrels. If you had gins, there'd be a single deep channel in each of these. So that's that. And there's the anti-drill pin that I wanted to avoid dropping anything by using the shim. We'll take out these side pins. I'll just take the whole key out, and then they'll just kind of float there. Right, so there's the 5th one, and then these we'll have. I'll take them all out first. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and a bunch of springs. And I'll put that there. These have cuts on the side like that, and they have these vertical striations. So these vertical serrations, rather, what they'll do is when you try to turn it inside this gate, it'll catch, and you have to let off tension, so otherwise it'll be like stuck in those serrations. And then once you get the correct rotation, you have to lift it to the correct height, and once you do that, it'll drop into the sidebar right there, and that's what will allow this sidebar to retract from the edge of the plug, or of the core, and at the edge you can see that little cutout on the edge, and that'll stop the plug from rotating in there if this sidebar is sticking into it. So let's look at what's up top here. Get the shim out of there. And each of these, you can put the barrels in either way. They have their little lip on both sides, but there's the first one, and you can see the barrel is double-ended to catch in those the counter milling of the plug. So not really showing like I would with the gins, because the orientation doesn't really matter on these because they're double-sided. So I took 1, 2, 3 out, and I'm going to take 6 out the back. 5 and 4, and then there's a bunch of springs in here as well. I'll dump them up here. We'll arrange these springs, and we'll give one look at it, and that'll be it. Spring, spring, spring. There we go. All right, so there we go. The Ruka, no, not the Ruko. It's the ASSA Trioving Titan 501. Yeah. There we go. Trioving with ASSA Abloy Triton. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.